So I'm not Matt, I'm not a salesman. I'm an evangelist, big difference. And I'm a technician and a lot of other things. At White Hat, we all have many hats. This is going to be a sales pitch, but it's not just talking about sales and what we do at White Hat. I think the model of what we're doing and how we approach information security is radically important. I think a lot of the methodologies of what we've done as an industry for the last 10, 20 years, it's not working. We are losing this battle radically. And when I joined White Hat, it's not just for a job, and it's not just a way to make a living. It's something that I sincerely believe in terms of the model to approach information security. Of course, I want you to buy all of our stuff. I have contracts, I take cash, but more. I'm kidding. Of course, I want you to buy our stuff, but I think this is also informative in the model of how we approach the business of information security. That's also of benefit to you. So Turbo Talk, I'm going to put the turbo in Turbo Talk. Let's do it. So information security is changing, and it's changing radically. Anyone here who approaches checkbox compliance, if that's what you think security is, that really means you're completely owned. I'm not trying to attack compliance. If you're a level 0 maturity company approaching information security for the first time, compliance is an awesome way to get started to approach the core basics around information security. But if that's where you stop, man, you can't do security with the checkbox. There's a whole different level that needs to be done to provide real security to your organization, and especially from a web application point of view. We really need to see security embedded deeply within the software development lifecycle, designing secure software, setting secure requirements, doing architectural review with security in mind, doing static analysis the moment you start writing code, being able to do dynamic assessment the moment you set up a dev server, and then being able to do dynamic assessment in production as well. And there's a way to do it with a reasonable cost, and there's a way to do it with the combination of automation and people that will let you and your organization meet up to the threats that you're really facing. What we used to do in information security is just manual pen testing. We come in and do a point-in-time assessment once in a while. It has its place to some degree, but again, when you come up against professional hacker organizations, organized crime, nation-state threat agents, hacktivists, are they doing occasional pen tests against you once a quarter? No way. They're looking at you and trying to hit you non-stop on a regular basis using a combination of automation and people. So you're getting hit and looked at non-stop. And then a pen tester comes in and does occasional point-in-time assessments. These two things don't meet up. We need to do something different. And I think the answer is continuous monitoring. And I'm not talking about the scan once a week or even the scan once a day. I'm talking about non-stop, 24/7, continuous, non-stop auditing of your different environments. That's how you meet up to the threat that you're facing today. And again, it's also not about tactically securing one website, because the attacker will find one of your marketing websites, do a command injection through SQL injection, root on your marketing website's database, and use that as a jumping off place to compromise the rest of your organization. So I think it's time to look at looking at every one of your web assets and consider securing them and assessing them on a continuous basis. And so, hack yourself first is our moniker for how to approach this problem. And not just hack yourself first once, but hack yourself first non-stop on a continuous 24/7 basis. In comes our service, WhiteHat Sentinel. WhiteHat Sentinel primarily is a dynamic web application scanning service. We use people where people are best. We use automation where automation is best. And we use a real tight process to tie it all together. So here's how it goes. You start by subscribing to assessment for a year. At that point, all you have to do is give us your URL and a set of credentials, and you're done. It's very much software as a service, hands off for you. You're already busy, you're already understaffed, you're already under budgeted, and there's immense pressure on you to get things done. So the whole point of WhiteHat Sentinel is to augment the resources that you're missing. And so we start by onboarding your web application. You give us credentials and a URL, we immediately begin scanning it. Now, the moment we see an HTML form or a sensitive feature, our scanner stops. No automation can just hit these different features in a safe or complete fashion. A human being will then show up, look at that form and manually configure our scanner specific to every individual form field and every individual feature, and then the scanner continues. So we're manually configuring automation specific to your website to give us a more thorough scan of your application. But then again, any scanner has a false positive. Any scanner on the planet will return a vulnerability that's not really a vulnerability. This is where our threat research center comes in. We have approximately a 100-man web application security team that operates behind our scanner. We're the only companies on the planet that does this. So when we find a vulnerability, every single vulnerability, we process about 1 million a day, every single vulnerability is manually verified by a human being web security expert. And that's the key. So when we give you results, and we give you results continuously on a regular basis. It's not a PDF report and we're gone. It's a portal that you log into and see trends and data of your web application security over time. And every single vulnerability we give to you has been verified by a human being. No false positives. How many of you use web security tools that give you no false positives? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah. No one's raising their hand. So our service does that as part of our contract with you. And so once you get that vulnerability, we keep going. We keep scanning it every day. We re-verify that vulnerability is there. The moment you or your developers fix it, we flag it as being fixed. And this happens again. We're scanning you 24/7. The data that comes out of this is dramatic. So now it's not just a matter of I think I'm secure, I hope I'm secure. It's I have an amazingly rich data set and I know I'm secure. Now you can compare yourself against your peers. You can compare yourself against your industry, and now you have not just a gut check, now you have real metrics to tell if you're doing web security right. It's like, we need to get beyond the guesswork of web security. We want data, so we have factual information to understand if we're doing it right or not. And so there's a lot of extra pieces to what we do. We have WAF integration. With all this data, what do you think? Should we set up a highly proprietary format that only we can look at, and if you want to use, you have to sign a special license with us? No. That's what a lot of security vendors do. We give you an open XML API so you can look at all your data whenever you want. If you're done with us, you can go to the XML API, pull all your data down. It's been good doing business with you. We have good retention. Our customers are happy with our service, and we do everything we can to do what's right. Open XML API, all of our data, all of our IP, pull it down whenever you want, and that's fine. And this also helps you integrate our raw data of the assessment of your applications. You can measure this raw data against, you can integrate this data into your custom reporting systems. You can use this data to integrate with Archer. You can use this data to integrate with Jira. So this open philosophy, this open XML API lets you integrate your web security data in real time with a variety of different services. And also, again, it's easy. This is not meant to be a huge burden on you. Other tools and services, they put the work on you. You do the triage. You configure the scanner. You install the software. And it's a lot of work. And with WhiteHat, our philosophy is we do that work for you. We configure the application. We install and maintain the software on our end. We do all the triage. You have a problem with fixing code? Give us a call. It's in the interface. We will help you fix it as well. Walk you down that remediation path as one of the features within our service. And we have multiple levels of service. One level is Sentinel baseline. That's click a button, it'll scan. Every single vulnerability off of the baseline is also verified by a human being. This service is like a turnkey scanner is what we're mimicking. It's mimicking like a script kiddie. We hit a button, it scans your site. We stop at certain places to mimic what a normal scanner would do, and we verify every vulnerability. It's our least expensive of our service. Then we have Sentinel Enterprise SE Edition. Sentinel Standard Edition. What Sentinel Standard Edition does is, when we hit a form, we manually train forms, and we dig deep into your site in an authenticated way. And the top level service is Sentinel Premium Edition. So we both scan your site, we train every form manually, and then there are certain things that a scanner just can't do well, like an e-commerce workflow or specialized business logic. So we have a SWAT team of manual pen testers, manual investigators, who will then continue on a regular basis to audit your site as well. So even the deeper business logic problems that automation is not good at, we find that stuff as well. Again, WhiteHat's philosophy is use people where people are best, use automation where automation is best, and use a real tight process to tie it all together. That's how we're able to scale and handle so many websites at the level of depth we do. Last couple of points, WAF integration is critical. Anyone familiar with web application firewall technology? This is a relatively new area. This is a specialized firewall to block web application traffic. Web application firewalls are imperfect. If you throw a huge generic rule set at that web application firewall, the power of it's limited. It doesn't have the context of what's really happening in your application. And we partner with both F5 ASM and Imperva. So look at the whole life cycle of how we work with the web application firewall. We scan your app, we manually configure the scanner, we manually verify every single vulnerability, we do business logic testing where it's necessary, and now we have something called a sound analysis. Every vulnerability it's not a question, it's a true risk to your business. When we take that vulnerability and give it to a firewall vendor, they can now build a tactical firewall rule, not some giant generic rule set, but a tactical rule specific to that one specific vulnerability. Now your web application firewall has real power behind it to stop the real threats in your application. And we have multiple integrations with different web application firewalls. I was philosophically never a believer in web application firewalls until I saw this methodology, and I think this is how it should be done. We're providing web application firewalls with real intelligence to be very effective, not in a generic way, but again, specific to the real vulnerabilities within the web application. That's the heart of our dynamic service. And again, one of the things that comes out of using this service that makes your bosses very happy is a mammoth-rich data set of vulnerabilities, how long those vulnerabilities have been in your system, the kinds of vulnerabilities, how you're comparing against the peers in your industry. That's the kind of data that the Cs love. It helps them make good decisions to manage the business. Last note, we've also just moved into the static analysis industry, where we're also doing code analysis looking for vulnerabilities. The combination of DAST and SAS together is very powerful. Code analysis and hacking analysis, I dare say. So we drop, real quick, we drop a piece of hardware or a virtual machine in your environment. We point directly to a code repository. We configure the code. We take action to grab code from your repository on a daily basis. We manually review that data from the vulnerability scanner. When we give you a result from the static analysis engine, it's also a sound analysis. We've gone through and weeded out all the false positives, and make sure that what we give you is a sound analysis, one that's easy for you to digest. If your developers have questions, how do I fix this? Part of our service will do remediation assistance through our portal as well. And we're coming out with this service next week, very exciting. It's one of the reasons I was acquired by WhiteHat, and really excited to see this get out the door. And last, there's a lot of other static analysis solutions out there. We feel that what we're doing is third generation cloud. Again, no false positives. It directly plugs into code repositories. You don't have to hit a scan button and wait for hours. There's trending data over time. The scanning happens on site. You don't have to upload your code to a cloud service. It's protected in a piece of hardware within your environment. It's reasonable cost. It's not just a one-time scan. You're not buying a tool. It's a non-stop, continuous monitoring of your code base, 24/7 looking for vulnerabilities. It lets you be truly agile and provide good security assurance at the same time. I think this is a model not just for WhiteHat. It's the way you need to do security to survive. I'm really grateful you gave me some time to rap with you about what we do. Any questions, you're more than free. I'll be sitting by the booth for a little while. You can give us a call or drop us an email, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for your time, everybody.